Go woke, go broke? Not really. According to new SEC filings, former President Donald Trump's platform,
Truth, Central,
has lost tens of millions of dollars in the year 2023. The company, which last week finally merged with the blank check company, the Trump Media and Technology Group, and began publicly trading, reportedly had revenues of just $4.1 million while having losses of more than $58 million. $4.1 million income, $58 million expenses. Wow, that's not good. And now, to be fair, a majority of those losses are attributable to its debt. Okay, sure. That said, the operating costs for Truth Social are approximately 4 times higher than their revenue stream. That is bad. That is what we call operating at a massive loss. 4 times. Where's the money going? Where is that money going? Well, I know where it's going. Into the pockets of, for example, Devin Nunes, other executives. That's where it's going. So, absolute disaster. Now, here's the thing. Their revenue mainly comes from advertising, right? Now, in the fourth quarter of last year, advertising revenue declined. Gone. So, now there's reasons for that. And by the way, to be fair, it hasn't just hit social media. Advertising revenue has had a huge decline pretty much everywhere, weirdly enough, at least on digital media. So that's kind of a trend here. That said, what Truth Social has is not a good business model, all right? That said, was it ever meant to be? The answer is no. This is a pump and dump scheme. It always has been. And it's another great example as well of how the stock market is completely divorced from reality, all right? Again, this is not a profitable company, and yet Trump Media and Technology Group is valued at more than $7 billion after going public last week. I mean, the stocks are incredibly high. Now, they dropped today thanks to this news, but once again, I don't understand why it was high to begin with. Who is out here saying, I got to get a piece of Truth Social? Really? I don't know. Now, Business Insider's Emily Stewart on Monday pointed out some very interesting things in this filing. She noted that the stock is probably trading at something like 2,000 times the company's annual revenue. Now, in comparison, let's take Apple, right? Their stock actually trades at about 7 times its total revenue. Doesn't make any sense, but 7 times versus 2,000 times. I mean, that is not normal. That is not usual, all right? In fact, she notes that that there's no way that's going to stay that high of a price for the stock, and that also means that there's going to be a massive sell-off. Now, who owns most of Truth Social stock? That would be Donald Trump. Owns about 70% of it, if not more. So now the thing is, he is not allowed to sell off the stock for at least 6 months. So if he can manage somehow to keep the stock price relatively high, or to at least keep it from sliding, precipitously, right? At least keep it on like a slow downward angle instead of dropping off a cliff, then he'll be able to make some money off of it when he eventually does do the dump part of pump and dump. But if he can't, ouch, that's not going to go well, okay? Again, when that happens, I'm pretty sure Truth Social stock will be nearly worthless. Now, getting back to Stewart here. Now, she described Truth Social as, once again, not a thriving business, and she came to the conclusion by looking at the numbers. This is not just because she's anti-Trump, okay? No, she said, according to third-party trackers, Truth Social had an estimated 5 million monthly website visits in February of this year. Now, estimated, right? And this is according to third-party trackers. Why are we getting estimates from third-party trackers? It's because Truth Social will not reveal their exact metrics. Now, if you were Donald Trump, and that would be a strange day indeed, and you went public and you're like, this is the best company in the world, the most greatest, the most tremendous company, True Social, you want to invest, right? Then you would come out with your metrics and prove that. The reason that he is not, that the company is not, it's probably because the metrics are not good for a social media company. By comparison, Facebook had 845 million monthly active users when it went public back in 2012, and Twitter had 215 million when it IPO'd the following year. So those two social media companies are still around, despite the fact that Elon Musk, when he took over Twitter and renamed it X, has been steadily trying to drive it into the ground. But here's the thing about True Social. The reason that you see such stark numbers here is because True Social is a fringe site that caters to MAGA, a very, very small group of people. Okay, this is what's made for MAGA people. And yet a lot of MAGA is not spending their time there. A lot of MAGA are still on Facebook, they're on X, they're on Twitter, on Threads. And why is that? Well, one reason, because that's where the libs are. You can't own the libs if you're sitting on True Social, circle jerking it with Hitler was right 420 and Libslayer 1388. All right? That's not a thing, all right? So, a lot of what drives people on the far right is owning the libs. So you got to go where the libs are, and the libs aren't signing up for True Social, okay? And so this is why MAGA people are on Threads, Blue Sky, everywhere else. One reason why True Social isn't doing very well, okay? Now, the other is advertising. As I mentioned, True Social is having a similar problem to X, where large respectable companies are not really wanting to advertise there, partly because of content and partly because the lack of an audience. That's why this and other right-wing companies that went public didn't really see sustained high stock prices or sustained profitability from their existence. Now, Stewart also adds another component, saying, quote, being in the business of anti-woke is not especially lucrative. Once again, true. She also states that people are busy and tired, so they're going to go for what's more convenient and familiar. That also makes more sense. So here's the thing. If you're a right-winger and you're not kicked off Twitter and Facebook, why would you go to True Social? You might make an account on True Social and check it once in a while, but you're still, a majority of the time are going to spend being on X/Twitter/Facebook because you already have connections there, because you already have, if you're, interested in getting followers, for example, well, then you're going to have followers that are already there. To have to move everything over to a new social media platform is a pain in the ass. So even if you love Donald Trump, you're not going to want to do that. Okay? So yeah, there's a lot of different factors into why I personally believe that in about 6 months, True Social stock is going to crash. It's going to crash and burn. Now, what this means for Donald Trump is if he can dump as much stock as he can before that happens, before it all goes to nothing, hell, he might even be the trigger for it to go completely down to nothing. Well, then he'll still be able to walk away from the wreckage a little bit richer. And I think that's, for him, the best case scenario.